Welcome back to Pushing Forward with Alicia. I'm Alicia Anderson. To kick off this episode, I wanted to read a small part of an email that I received from a mother. Her name is Benita Benifield. She is a global retention marketing manager at Etsy, and she attended my virtual keynote. The email said, "Hi, Alicia. Last year, I had the opportunity to listen to you speak during our virtual call at Etsy. My son is 15 and he listened in too. Samuel's disability started to show up when he was 3, which affects one side of his body. He started to hide his hand and his leg at one point in his life. And after your virtual lecture, he started making little goals, like he wanted to practice the trumpet again. He wanted to tell his story on Etsy. He wanted to not miss school for a half of a year. And he wanted to try out for the school play. The email ends with, "So I want to thank you. Without your inspirational words, I don't think he would have accomplished all of this. He was always an honor student, but you gave him a new freedom. This is why I am doing what I'm doing." Benita, thank you so much for joining. And our guest of honor, also Samuel Benifield-Chivore. Thank you for spending some time and sharing your story with our audience. Welcome to Pushing Forward with Alicia.
Hi, Alicia. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Alicia. It's great to be here.
Samuel, you're an entrepreneur, you're an actor, you're an honor roll student. You have a long list of accolades that you've achieved, and you're young. You're 16, right? You're still in high school.
I'm actually 15,
Oh,
almost 16.
15, almost 16. And you're in high school. Can you share with our audiences a little bit about who you are, maybe a little bit about your disability, whatever you're comfortable with, to kind of paint the beautiful picture of who you are as a human?
Yes, like I said, I'm 15, almost 16. I was born with a brain AVM, ultravenous malformation of the brain. At uh, but at age 3, I started showing symptoms. Um, at age 6, I started losing right side, and after that, a few hospital visits and lots of therapy. My family uh signed me up for lots of activities because I couldn't do physical activities like sports or gym.
So your disability shows up, you start to lose some of the motor function of the right side of your body. So I think that showed up a little bit or a lot in your hand and in your foot. I believe you have to use like a brace will help you walk and to navigate school and life. Is that true?
Well, yes, but with like therapy, I uh have regained some of my mobility on my right side, but if I'm tired or I have a bad day, I may trip.
I know family support in this path has been huge. Your mom is a huge advocate for you and empowering you. How has the encouragement and the support of your family, your mom, helped you in reaching some of these significant goals?
Yes, my as you said, my mom is my biggest support. My mom is very pushing, and pushing me towards like setting little goals for myself, and I'm like, okay. And after hearing your talk of, I started taking her words seriously and started setting up little goals for myself. So she's a big help.
Well, it's not just me. You have a lot of family that gives you
Yes.
support.
Mom, what has some of your advocacy been?
It has been very interesting. And like I said, I have the support of my sister, my mother, and even his sister. We all support him as much as we can. So if I can't do something, somebody else in the family will help us. But in the beginning, we wanted to make sure that the school understood his disability and what he can and cannot do. And that was sort of difficult because not a lot of people understood AVMs, understood how many or why he received so many headaches, and he may or may not be able to attend school, or he may be out for a certain amount of time. That was part of it. Also gym classes. At that time, gym included everyone, like all the grades. I believe they had like I'm going to say four, but it might have been a couple more classes. So that's a lot of kids to be in a gym class. And, just having him and me being worried all the time, I kept on speaking up. And at that time, they decided to give him a para aide. And that aide has been with him since first grade all the way up to now to make sure that she's there, making sure that if he has a headache or if he's not having a great day, she can put him to the side and say, okay, let's take a break. She actually knows when there's something wrong with him way before he does
Yeah.
sometimes, or when he's pushing himself. So it's pretty much making sure that what he needs, he has. So if it's art class, if it's, he can't do sports, play chess, musical classes, you name it. If it wasn't for him or if someone told him he couldn't do it, I made sure and I figured out a way how he can do it.
I love that. And that was so important for me in my life too. My parents had to advocate pretty loud for me to be included in certain activities and integrated in mainstream opportunities. And because I think the easy answer is specifically for disability, especially for something like AVM, which feels like, it's not spinal cord injury, it's not the girl in the wheelchair, it's a unique disability that has its own layers and challenges. And I think a lot of times the easy answer is like, no, 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 it's not possible. And it does take the advocacy of your parents and your allies to kind of find spots for you in spaces where people might say no or think it's not possible until you learn to advocate for yourself through the lessons of your mom, through the lessons of your aunt and the people around you.
Uh, it wasn't for my family, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Same for me. If it wasn't for my family, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you either. So I think that's like the power of community, and the power of love. So, and the power of belief in the ones that you love and that are in your circle. So that's beautiful. What would have made you exactly say, "Hey Samuel, come sit on this Etsy keynote"?
So, I'm part of accessibility and disability at Etsy, and I heard your notes and I heard some of your lectures before, and I was like, you know what, this is a great opportunity. He was home, and I said, you know what, you're coming downstairs, you're gonna listen, and he was like, okay, and he just came downstairs and he listened, and he like really listened. So
Yes.
it was really amazing to see that his face lit up. And we were in the same room, but I was watching from my laptop and he was watching from the large screen. And I was just like, wow, he listened. So
What was the thing that motivated you? Like, what was the spark? Do you remember?
I guess you have a disability, but then you do all this stuff, which really motivated me.
I again, like it was one of the most beautiful moments of my life for somebody to say, this just helped my son, and now he's got all these goals. So you get off the keynote, you make a bunch of goals, and you start achieving them. Can we
Yep.
talk about some of your achievements?
Yes, so right after your talk, I said, "Hey, let me try the trumpet again." So I played my trumpet, and she not knowing not hearing me play my trumpet in about like 2 years at this point, walked in my door and said, "Hey, are you playing the trumpet?" And I'm like, "Yes."
I believe the story goes in my memory. You put the trumpet down because the kids started to stare at you because you were playing it with your left hand and you were adapting in a different way and it made you uncomfortable. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
During that time, it was during the pandemic, and I guess the kids was able to see virtually on the screen that he was playing with the left hand. It wasn't as visible when you're in class and everyone is playing. So he decided to put it down.
I think that that's a perfect example of, especially when you're in school, you just have so many insecurities and, you're very conscious about what other people are thinking. And so, like, it's so incredible that you did that. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break. You're listening to Pushing Forward with Alicia. If you're an employer looking to motivate and inspire your team through the power of diversity and inclusion and learn more about disability inclusion in the workplace and how to include disability into your DEI efforts, please check out my keynote speech offerings on aliciaanderson.com. That's ALYCIA Anderson with an O.com. Click on speaking. Welcome back to Pushing Forward with Alicia. I'm Alicia Anderson. Samuel Benifield-Chivore, thank you for spending some time and sharing your story with our audience. Welcome to Pushing Forward with Alicia. I want to talk about you just being casted as the teen angel in Greece.
So I found out that they was doing Grease, and I was like, I gotta sing Beauty School Dropout because I always wanted to sing Beauty School Dropout, and it's just something about that whole scene just moved me.
And so you tried out.
Yes, I tried out, I got the part, and I killed it.
Oh my gosh, it's such a cool moment.
If I would tell myself uh 5, even 3 years ago, that I would be up on stage singing and dancing in front of open house, I was laughing in your face because that seemed ridiculous in my opinion back then.
His part himself and his teen angel part, they actually created a little cloud for him to sit on. And instead of him just walking through, they had someone push him because it was in Act Two. So by that time, he would
Yeah.
have been exhausted. So they just pushed him around while he was singing, which was great. And his sister said that, what did your sister say?
I don't remember, but it was something like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you can sing while like being pushed. That must take a lot of skills."
Oh, so you have an Etsy store, which would make sense, knowing your mother's background. It's called Samuel's Bricks. This was like a side hustle or a hobby that you turned into a part-time job, correct?
Yes,
Tell
yes.
us a little bit about the creations that you're making and what your response has been from your customers.
This has all been like so fast, but over a year ago, I was I was adamant that yes, when it hits summer, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then I was so adamant that my family said, why don't you open up a Etsy store selling little Lego scenes? And I'm like, you may be onto something.
Why Legos?
I always loved Legos ever since I was a kid, and uh in the hospital I couldn't really do much. So I always used to build Legos, and yeah.
Yeah, even like they would he would go into the hospital and they would just have a bag
Yes.
or a box of Lego for him to build. He would wake up from surgery, there was a Lego right there for him to work on. So it was
Yeah, that kept me occupied for about the whole visit.
Yes.
Can you describe some of the creations or the stories that you're telling through your Samuel's Bricks business today?
Yes, I'm really telling uh little stories that you can give to uh friends or family during Christmas events, graduations, um, Valentine's Day. And it would be like a little heart scene or a graduation uh little gift or uh just some minifigures sitting outside on a picnic. They're all personalized. So if you have an idea, there's probably a chance that I have it on there.
How do you handle the moments when people are doubting you or they're having skepticism about your abilities? And what advice do you give to other kids that might be going through it?
Well, if you would ask me this same question like 3 or 4 years ago, I would probably say a whole different answer than I'm going to say right now. But it truly is something when people say you can't do uh something and you prove them wrong time after time.
What does that do for you and your self-confidence?
It's so like it is so achieving in a way.
It's empowering, right?
Yes, it's so empowering.
And it takes a lot of bravery to try for that first time to go pick up the trumpet again and not put it down ever again and have that moment. And then you go, oh, I can do that. I did do that. What's next?
Yeah, it's just like this jump off of a cliff. It seems hard at first, but when you truly jump off of it, then you get the easy time.
So, looking into the future, you're going to be 16 soon. What are your biggest aspirations and goals?
So I don't want to start playing like all the aggressive sports like football, uh, baseball, basketball,
You got to
but
pick.
I would play stuff like tennis, other smaller sports that's more manageable.
I like it. We're gonna have to get on the tennis court together. Congratulations on pushing fear to the side and pushing forward. I mean, that is the total theme of this podcast, and you've totally done it.
And I like to thank you for being that light.
So, Samuel, what is the pushing forward moment that you want to leave with our listeners?
So my pushing forward moment, I really want to grain into this listener's head is no matter your disability, you can still achieve greatness if you set your mind to it, okay?
I don't know if you can beat that, Mom.
For all those parents out there and grandparents and just caregivers, I would say that although you may be helping or raising a child who may or may not have a disability, it's okay. They will push forward and keep going, and no matter what, things will work out and they will do it in their own way.
Those are very complimenting pushing forward moments and powerful. They both gave me the chills. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thanks to our community for listening to this conversation, and we will see you next week. This has been Pushing Forward with Alicia, and that is how we roll on this podcast. If you're an employer looking to motivate and inspire your team through the power of diversity and inclusion and learn more about disability inclusion in the workplace and how to include disability into your DEI efforts, please check out my keynote speech offerings on aliciaanderson.com. That's ALYCIA Anderson with an O.com. Click on speaking.